All right, in this video, we're going to be talking about how you can fix your cold email deliverability so people see your emails, they don't land in spam, and you can get the maximum results from your cold email campaigns, and you don't have to bang your head against the wall worrying about how to improve your deliverability. So just to show you real quick, this is what it looks like when you do deliverability improvements. You can see we sent 3,400 emails in this first campaign, got 19 replies and 2 interested people, and off of 33% less sending volume, we got twice as many replies and we got more interested replies. So you can see 3,400 emails, 2 positive replies, 2,100 emails, 5 positive replies. This is the same list. This is the same copy. This is the same set of strategy. But if you improve this, you can see the strategy results stayed the same, the positive replies. But you can see the deliverability improvement made a large difference in the amount of leads we're getting per email sent. So what we're going to be talking about is number one, how to see if deliverability is even an issue in the first place. Then we're going to be talking about why tracking open rates is a bad idea. Then we're going to talk about the 3 metrics I use to actually score deliverability. And then number 4, I'm going to talk about how you can improve your deliverability. What are the action items you can take so people start seeing your emails? Real quick, if you don't know who I am, my name is Matt Lucero. We send a couple 100,000 or a few 100,000 emails per month for a handful of customers to help them book B2B sales meetings. And so hopefully I can share some of the knowledge with sending millions of cold emails at this point with you. By the way, if you want to work with me, you can check one of the links in the description below. Anyways, first we're going to talk about how to see if deliverability is even an issue in the first place. And I'm going to show in this example, so you can see reply rate was the main metric I used to basically gauge deliverability. And we're going to talk about why I think that makes sense. One of the easiest, simplest ways you can tell if deliverability is an issue is number one, if you're getting an insane bounce rate. In this case, our bounce rate wasn't insane, and they're soft bounces. Soft bounces are when you get bounce code emails that say, hey, your email was rejected for spam or whatever. So that's one issue with deliverability. So one of the ways you can tell is if you have an insane high bounce rate and you look at the bounce codes and they say that, hey, we're rejecting your emails, not because people don't exist. If people don't exist, that's a list problem. The second way you can tell is if your reply rate is very, very low. Now, what number do I like to use? I use 1% on email sent as a general benchmark. Again, depending on the markets you're reaching out to, for example, if you're reaching out to enterprise markets, you're typically going to see lower response rates. So we see in some cases when you're reaching out to enterprise markets, we see below 1% reply rate, and I still think things are good. But as a general benchmark, if you're sending your cold emails, you're seeing less than 1% reply rate on email sent. So you can see this 1.62. Don't count this number because any sending tool you're going to use is going to calculate the reply rate on leads contacted. That way they can show you a nicer number. But you can see in this case, we sent 3,400 emails and we got 19 replies. So if you do some quick math, that's about a 0.6% reply rate or somewhere around there. And so what we'd want to be seeing is on 3,400 emails, we want 34-ish replies. And so if we're plus or minus around there, I would say that's good. If your audience is really good and a lot of stuff is dialed, you can see this as high. We've seen as high as 3% or 4% on emails sent, but that's not typical. And you can see in this other case here, we sent 2,100 emails. So again, I'd be looking for like 21 replies and we got 40. So this is a good indication that things are good. So that's one of the ways that we can check to see if deliverability is an issue. There's 3 main ways I like to use though. So the first one's reply rates. Now, again, this is the general benchmark that I like to use. Again, this isn't perfect, but this is a really easy back of napkin way to overall check your deliverability. Again, there's a lot of nuances. It depends on your lead list, but this is like a general deliverability metric. The other way you can check deliverability is by checking the warm-up scores. Real quick, if you're watching this video and you don't know what email warm-up is basically the process of sending emails to other people on your sending tools network. So let's pretend we have 2 people here sending cold emails. They trade emails between each other. That way they can tell each other, hey, our emails are good, and they can improve your deliverability. If you're using a tool like SmartLead or Instantly or pretty much any modern cold email tool, this is built in. If you're not, you can use a separate tool like warmy.io to do this. This helps your deliverability, and I'm going to get to this in the action items here in a second. But this is another way you can check your deliverability. So for example, if I pop into SmartLead, you can see SmartLead is an email sending tool that we use, by the way. You can see over here on the right-hand side, this is the warm-up score. So they calculate this by taking the amount of email sent. So let's say we sent 100 emails and then calculating if an email landed in spam. So let's say one of these 100 emails landed in spam, you're gonna have a 99% warm-up score. So you can see these are fresh accounts, or these actually have been in campaigns for a little bit, but you can see the warm-up scores are pretty good, which means that, or they're not pretty good, they're really good. They're all at 100%, which means that the emails that are being traded aren't landing in spam, which is a good indication that email health is pretty good. The third way you can check deliverability is by doing placement tests. I had to think there for a second. Placement tests. What a placement test is Inside of a tool, there's tools like Email Guard that do this, Smart Lead, MailReach, there's a lot of tools that do this. You take your email account and then you send it out to a bunch of emails on a network, and you're basically saying, hey, where did my email land? So you're not, in this case, warm up here, you're trading emails, and this might not be your cold email content. This might just be, random whatever content. In this case, you're sending an email out to a bunch of different email accounts. You're saying, hey, where did this land? Did this land in spam? Did this land in inbox? You can see what this looks like here. These are some spam tests that I'm running inside Smart Lead. You can see we sent out 1,700 emails and one of them landed in spam. Pretty good sign, and probably indicates that our regular cold emails aren't going to land in spam. You can see here in this case down the line where we sent about 100 or so emails, and you can see about 33% of them landed in spam, which indicates that probably if we were to send to recipients of that provider in our email campaigns, that they would also land into spam. So these are 3 different ways that I like to gauge it. At the end of the day, reply rate is the metric that matters the most, because this is real world metrics. This is us saying, hey, we're going out into the world. We're saying, we just sent a bunch of emails and people are responding to them yes, no. And this is basically like the real world metrics we're getting from real campaigns. These 2 metrics are metrics you can get without running campaigns to actual people. They can broadly indicate if something's wrong. So you can use these 2 as kind of health scores in addition to reply rate. Now, one of the second objections I get, or a lot of people ask me, is why don't you use open rates? Because while these tools have open rates, you can see in these cases, I have them disabled. I don't even have open rates enabled in the first place. The reason why is because when you track open rates, there's 2 problems. Number 1 is accuracy. The second problem is the actual deliverability itself. So first, with accuracy, if you are sending cold emails out and people receive them, the way that open rates are even tracked in the first place is that tools like Smart Lead or Instantly or HubSpot or MailChimp or whatever tool you're using, they're embedding a transparent pixel inside of the email. It's a transparent image. And whenever someone opens the email and the image loads, it fires back in that says, hey, Smart Lead, or hey, Instantly, or hey, whoever, our email just got open, market isn't open. Now, the problem with this is that companies like Apple implemented a mail privacy protection, some random thing. They implemented something that allows them to scan the emails without you actually opening them. So they'll run through, scan for viruses, scan for privacy, do all kinds of random things, and they will open the emails. And if they open the emails on behalf of you, then they will fire off the open rate tracking pixel. And this makes it so the open rate isn't perfectly accurate. Now, is it still a general good deliverability metric? Yes. But the second reason, the more important reason why I don't have it enabled in our campaigns is for deliverability. The reason, again, is because, as I said earlier, whenever you're sending cold emails and you're sending images, which is what is used to track open rates, whenever you send an image, it reduces the chance of your email even hitting the inbox in the first place, because some servers have it set up that if a stranger sends them an email, that they throw it into the spam folder. So that's why you don't want to track opens, and why, yes, on paper, it's a semi-accurate way to tell deliverability, but overall, it reduces your deliverability, so I don't recommend it. It doesn't terribly reduce it, but it reduces it enough for me to say, hey, let's use reply rate as a better metric. Again, the reason being is if someone sees your email, even if they're not interested in the email, they say not interested, out of office or whatever, it shows that it's landing in the inbox. And if you use this rough benchmark, you can get a general idea if your emails are landing or not. Again, this is for B2B sales type of activity. Your mileage may vary depending on a lot of factors. I just want to give you a rough benchmark for you watching this video if you're struggling with your cold email deliverability. So that's the second thing why tracking open rates is a bad idea. Number 3, we actually did cover this. The 3 metrics I use to check for deliverability, which is a reply rate, the placement rate, and the warm-up score. And the 4th thing, how to improve it. So you watching this video, let's say you went out and you did a placement test and you saw that some of your emails were landing in spam. You ran your campaign and you looked at your reply rates and you said, hey, these are lower than I'd like to see. Maybe they're at 0.5% on the email sent. And so you're wondering, how can you improve this? The way that you can improve this is by either, number 1, putting your email accounts on warm up and taking them out of a campaign for a while, which is one option, or number 2, setting up completely new email accounts. So just to recap, you can either, number 1, set up new email accounts, and then the second thing you can do is leave them on warm up. Now, I personally prefer this first option because it's faster. I've seen cases where we leave email accounts on warm up that weren't performing well for a month or 2 and they still didn't fully recover. Now, I'd imagine if you were to do this for a long time and let the email accounts age a little bit more, that can help a lot. But the other thing that can happen with that is that it just takes a long time. So if you set up new email accounts, it'll make your life easier and allow you to just improve things quickly. Now, there's a handful of other things you can do to improve improve your email deliverability. This is partially some stuff that is published by Google, partially best practices after sending a bunch of emails, and also personal experience. There's 5 key things that I want to tell you that can help improve your email deliverability when you're sending cold emails. The first one is to use secondary domains. So if you're not familiar with what this is, instead of just firing off, let's say 500 emails per day from your primary domain, you can set up 10 email accounts or 20 email accounts. Let's use 20 in this case, and send 25 per day from each one of those accounts. That allows you to spread out your email volume and not send so many emails from your primary domain, which will also cause it to be blacklisted and cause other issues. So that's one way you can help improve your deliverability, is to set up the secondary domains. And when you're setting up fresh accounts, that's what I'm referring to, is basically just setting up new email accounts that are separate. The second thing is setting up your DMARC, DMARC, your DKIM, DKIM, and then your SPF. So these are your 3 primary email records that are basically like your passport, driver's license, and identification for your email accounts, so that they're more likely to land in inbox. If you have these 3 records set up, you can Google and look up real quick how to set them up. And whenever you're setting up an email account through Google or Microsoft, it's going to prompt you to set up your SPF. It's going to prompt you to, I think, set up your DKIM. Your DMARC, you can Google DMARC setup and get that set up. So you want to make sure that those are in place. The other thing is to warm up your accounts properly. As I alluded to earlier, this warm up process really helps your deliverability, and you want to warm up your accounts for at least 14 days. Ideally, I say at least 14 days. I would say at least like 7 days, but ideally 14 or more days. That way you can build email reputation. Number 4 is to not send spammy content in your emails. So no spammy content. Spammy content is either stuff that is actually in your email. So if you use a tool like Email Guard here, which is an email deliverability tool, this is just a dummy cold email I wrote. Hi, John, I want to send you money. I want to book a call. And let me move my beautiful face here. You can see that 2 spam words are in this email here. It's money and call. There are words that Google and Microsoft and all these email providers know are more likely to indicate that you're sending some sort of spam email or something that people don't want, for example, money. And so if you remove these from your email, this can help improve your email deliverability. And primarily the other spammy content that can hurt your email deliverability is images and links and the stuff that I alluded to earlier. And then the 5th thing that I would recommend to also improve your email deliverability is to send to people that want your email. So send not spammy emails in a content type of way. So not only the words that you're using, but reach out to people with relevant emails. Google has published an article saying that the 2 biggest things that they factor into spam is, number 1, do you have your record set up properly? And number 2, how many people are reporting you as spam? There was an article, I don't know, it was probably like a year ago. I think Google reversed it back, but they basically said anyone who had a higher than 0.3% spam report rate, meaning for every 1,000 emails sent, they got 3 spam reports, was, considered too spammy in their eyes. Again, they rolled this back for the business accounts because that is somewhat unrealistic when you're sending cold emails. But this kind of rings true that if people report you as spam, that you are more likely to end up in the spam folder. And this is probably the biggest factor. If you're sending cold emails, some percentage of people are just going to report you as spam because they don't like sales and they don't want to support the economy. But for the people that do receive cold emails and are on the fence, if you reach out to someone who totally doesn't need your offer versus someone who totally does need your offer, that's going to change the level of people that are going to report your emails as spam, make it more likely or less likely that your emails are going to land as spam. So this is probably one of the most important factors to make sure that your emails stop staying in spam, is to send to relevant people, assuming that you have all your technical stuff set up and you did all this properly. So those are the main things. Again, we recapped how to see if your deliverability is an issue, why tracking open rates is a bad idea, 3 metrics to score deliverability, and 5 different ways that you can actually improve your deliverability. So hopefully this video is useful. If you want to check out other videos on this channel for cold email, check them all out. If you want to work with me, check the link in the description below. Appreciate you and hope you have a great rest of your day.